The sky over Sydney had never looked so ominous. Jacob Duncan stood on the rooftop of the government research facility, staring at the alien ships descending through the clouds. Communication networks had failed, plunging the city into confusion and fear. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, Jacob's mind raced with purpose. Inside the facility, Dr. Lily Amber, the lead scientist and Jacob's mentor, worked frantically with her team to analyze the alien technology they had been studying for months. Captain James Roberts, the military liaison, coordinated with what was left of the city's defenses. Lieutenant Emma Clark, Jacob's close friend and a tactical expert, was readying the few soldiers they had for a defensive stand. Jacob descended the stairs to the main lab, where the atmosphere buzzed with urgency. "We need to find their weakness, and we need to find it now," Lily said, her voice steady despite the chaos outside. "We've been analyzing their energy signatures," Jacob said, pointing to the holographic display. "Their ships rely on a specific type of energy field. If we can disrupt it, we might be able to disable them." Captain Roberts joined them, his face grim. "We don't have much time. They're already targeting major cities and military bases worldwide." Emma entered the lab, her expression determined. "We need a plan to protect this facility while we work on disrupting their energy fields." As they strategized, an explosion rocked the building. The power flickered but held. Jacob and Emma exchanged a quick glance, then sprinted toward the source of the blast. Alien drones had breached the perimeter, and soldiers were already engaging them. Jacob picked up a rifle, his old instincts from his Special Forces days kicking in. "Emma, cover me!" he shouted as he fired at an advancing drone. Emma moved with precision, taking down another drone with a well-placed shot. "Jacob, we need to hold them off long enough for Lily to finish the analysis," Emma called out, her voice cutting through the din of combat. Jacob agreed, his focus unwavering. "Keep them at bay. I'll get back to the lab and see if Lily has made any progress." Back in the lab, Lily's hands flew over the controls. "Jacob, we've found something. The energy fields have a specific frequency. If we can generate a counter-frequency, we can disrupt their systems." Jacob's mind raced. "We can use the city's old broadcast towers to amplify the signal. It's risky, but it might just work." Captain Roberts overheard and joined them. "I'll coordinate with the remaining defense forces to protect those towers. You two get the signal ready." Jacob and Lily worked tirelessly, converting the data into a usable signal. The facility shook with each nearby explosion, but their focus never wavered. Hours later, as dawn began to break, they had a plan. Jacob grabbed a portable transmitter. "I'll take this to the main tower. Lily, you stay here and monitor the output." "Be careful, Jacob," Lily said, her eyes filled with concern. Jacob and Emma set off toward the tower, moving through the war-torn streets of Sydney. The alien presence was overwhelming, but they pressed on, driven by the hope of turning the tide. Reaching the tower, they fought their way through alien patrols, using every ounce of their training and determination. Jacob climbed to the top, connecting the transmitter to the broadcast array. "Ready when you are, Lily," he said into his radio. Lily's voice crackled through. "Activating the signal, now." A low hum filled the air as the counter-frequency broadcasts began. Alien ships started to falter, their energy fields disrupted. "It's working!" Emma shouted, a rare smile crossing her face. But their celebration was short-lived. An alien warship, larger and more formidable than the others, appeared on the horizon, heading straight for the tower. "Jacob, we have to hold them off until the signal takes full effect," Emma said, urgency in her voice. Jacob steeled himself. "We've come this far. We're not backing down now." The warship unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, but the disruption in their systems made their aim erratic. Jacob and Emma fired back, buying precious time. The warship drew closer, its weapons systems struggling against the interference. Finally, the warship's engines failed, and it crashed into the bay, sending a shockwave through the city. The remaining alien forces, disoriented and weakened, began to retreat. Jacob collapsed to his knees, exhaustion overtaking him. Emma placed a hand on his shoulder. We did it, Jacob. We really did it. As they returned to the research facility, the team regrouped, bruised but victorious. Jacob knew the fight was far from over, but they had found the aliens' weakness and proven that humanity could strike back. Inside the lab, Lily hugged Jacob tightly. This is just the beginning, isn't it? Jacob smiled, a spark of hope in his eyes. Yes, but now we know we can win. The streets of Sydney were eerily quiet in the aftermath of the alien attack. Smoke still rose from buildings, and the once bustling city now felt like a ghost town. Jacob and Emma moved carefully, ensuring the signal from the broadcast tower continued to disrupt the remaining alien forces. As they navigated through the debris, they encountered pockets of civilians and soldiers regrouping, their faces a mix of fear and determination. Back at the research facility, Lily and Captain Roberts were analyzing the immediate impact of the signal. We've disrupted their main systems, but they're adapting, Lily said, her eyes glued to the screen displaying alien ship movements. We need to stay ahead, Captain Roberts grimaced. We can't afford to give them any chance to recover. We have to hit them while they're vulnerable. Jacob and Emma arrived at the facility, greeted by the anxious faces of the team. How are we looking? Jacob asked, setting his gear down. We've managed to slow them down, but it's a temporary fix, Lily replied. If we don't find a permanent solution, they'll retaliate harder than before. Emma glanced at the map on the table, showing the global situation. We need to coordinate with other countries. This can't just be our fight. Jacob approved. I'll reach out to our contacts. Meanwhile, Lily, see if you can refine the signal. We need something more powerful. As the team worked, Jacob contacted allies across the globe, sharing their findings and coordinating a unified response. The time was against them, and the strain was evident on everyone's faces. Hours passed with little progress, and the weight of the situation hung heavily. In a brief moment of respite, Jacob found himself on the rooftop once more, staring at the sky. Emma joined him, her expression reflecting his own fatigue. Do you think we'll make it through this? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. Jacob's gaze remained on the horizon. We have to. There's too much at stake. Suddenly, an alarm sounded from the facility. Jacob and Emma rushed back inside, where Lily was frantically working at her station. We've got a problem, she said, her tone urgent. A new wave of ships is heading our way. They've adapted faster than we anticipated. Captain Roberts barked orders, rallying the defense forces. Prepare for an assault. We can't let them take the facility. Jacob grabbed his rifle, ready to face the threat. Emma, stay with Lily. Make sure that signal keeps running. As the aliens closed in, the facility's defenses were tested to their limits. Jacob led a team of soldiers, holding the line against the relentless onslaught. The battle was fierce, each moment a fight for survival. Inside, Lily and Emma worked tirelessly, pushing the limits of the equipment. I think I've found a way to boost the signal using the power grid, Lily said, her voice tinged with both hope and desperation. But it's risky. It could overload and shut us down completely. Emma placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. We don't have a choice. Do it. Lily initiated the boost, and the facility's lights flickered as the power surged through the system. Outside, Jacob noticed a change. The alien ships faltered, their attacks becoming less coordinated. Keep it up, he shouted, rallying his team. We're turning the tide. The battle raged on, but the boosted signal gradually took effect. Alien ships crashed to the ground, their systems overwhelmed. The tide was finally turning in humanity's favor. Yet, just as victory seemed within grasp, a new threat emerged. A massive alien warship, larger and more advanced than any they had encountered, appeared on the horizon. It dwarfed the other ships and radiated a menacing energy. We've got a big one coming in, Captain Roberts warned. Brace yourselves! Jacob's heart pounded as he faced the new menace. Lily, how long until the signal fully disables them? Not long, she replied. But that ship might be able to resist it. Jacob's mind raced. Then we need to buy more time. He turned to his team. We're going to hit that ship with everything we've got. Let's show them what humanity is made of. The team mobilized, preparing for a desperate assault on the colossal warship. Jacob knew this would be their hardest battle yet, but retreat was not an option. As they moved into position, the warship's weapons began to charge, ready to unleash devastation. Inside the facility, Lily and Emma watched the scene unfold on the monitors. We can't lose them now, Emma whispered. Lily's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the controls. They won't. We've come too far. As the warship loomed closer, Jacob and his team launched their attack, every move precise and calculated. They needed to hold out just a little longer, for the signal to take full effect. The air was thick with the sound of combat, each explosion a testament to their determination. Jacob's thoughts were a whirlwind, but one clear goal remained: they had to survive. For humanity, for each other. With a final push, they launched their strongest offensive yet, hoping it would be enough. And then, as if answering their prayers, the warship began to falter, its systems succumbing to the boosted signal. Jacob watched in awe as the alien menace crumbled, falling from the sky like a wounded beast. The battlefield fell silent, the victory hard-earned but incomplete. Jacob knew this was only a step toward the ultimate goal. They had survived this encounter, but the war was far from over. As he regrouped with his team, the resolve to fight on burned brighter than ever. Back at the research facility, Jacob and Emma took a moment to regroup. The alien warship's defeat was a temporary victory, but it came at a cost. The team was exhausted, their resources stretched thin. Lily, still monitoring the signal's output, looked up with tired eyes. We can't keep this up forever, she said, her voice betraying her fatigue. Captain Roberts, his face lined with concern, joined them. We've bought ourselves some time, but the next wave will be worse. We need a more permanent solution. Emma glanced at the map, noting the movement of the remaining alien forces. If we can find their command center, we might be able to take them out at the source. Jacob's eyes lit up with the spark of an idea. We need to capture one of their officers. They'll have the information we need. Roberts agreed. It's risky, but it might be our best shot. We'll have to move quickly and quietly. Jacob assembled a small team, including Emma and two of their best soldiers, Jackson and Lee. They geared up, each of them aware of the stakes. As they left the facility, the city around them was a stark reminder of the devastation already wrought. Navigating through the rubble and abandoned streets, they made their way to a known alien outpost. The tension was palpable, every shadow a potential threat. Jacob led the way, his senses heightened, while Emma and the others covered their flanks. Reaching the outskirts of the outpost, they spotted a patrol of alien soldiers. Jacob motioned for the team to take cover. They watched as the patrol passed, their movements precise and methodical. Once they were clear, Jacob signaled the team to move forward. Inside the outpost, they found what they were looking for, an alien officer, distinguishable by its ornate armor. Jacob devised a plan. Jackson, Lee, create a diversion. Emma and I will grab the officer. Jackson and Lee set off a series of controlled explosions, drawing the attention of the alien guards. As the aliens rushed towards the source of the commotion, Jacob and Emma slipped into the command tent, catching the officer by surprise. A brief struggle ensued, but they quickly subdued the alien and began their retreat. The return to the facility was fraught with danger. The alien forces were on high alert, and the team had to dodge several patrols. At one point, they were forced to take cover in a crumbling building as a group of aliens passed by. The tension was nearly unbearable, but they couldn't afford to be discovered. Finally, they made it back, the captured officer in tow. Lily and Roberts were waiting. Let's see what it knows, Roberts said grimly. Using a combination of translation software and interrogation techniques, they extracted the information they needed. The alien command center was located deep underground, heavily fortified and protected by advanced technology. We'll need a full assault to break through their defenses, Jacob said, studying the layout of the command center. But if we can take it out, we might be able to end this. Captain Roberts called for an emergency meeting of all available forces. "This is it, folks," he announced. "We're going in hard and fast. Failure is not an option." As they prepared for the final assault, Jacob found a moment to talk to Emma. "We're almost there," he said, trying to reassure both of them. Emma approved, her resolve firm. "Let's finish this." The assault on the alien command center was unlike anything they had faced before. The aliens were prepared, their defenses formidable. But humanity's forces were united, their determination unbreakable. Jacob and his team led the charge, fighting their way through waves of alien soldiers and automated defenses. The battle was fierce, but they pushed forward, each step bringing them closer to the command center. Explosions rocked the underground facility, and the air was thick with the sounds of battle. Jacob's focus never wavered, every action driven by the need to protect his people and end the alien threat. As they breached the final barrier, they found themselves in the heart of the command center. The alien leader stood before them, a menacing presence surrounded by advanced technology. Jacob raised his weapon, ready for the final confrontation. Before they could engage, the facility began to shake. Alarms blared, and the alien leader sneered. "You may have reached me, but this battle is far from over." It hissed in a language they barely understood. Lily's voice crackled over the comms. "Jacob, we've detected a massive energy buildup. They're going to destroy the entire facility." Jacob's heart raced. "We need to get out of here, now." The team made a desperate dash for the exit, the alien leader's laughter echoing behind them. As they emerged from the command center, a massive explosion rocked the ground, sending debris flying and shaking the earth. Jacob and his team barely escaped the blast, but the alien leader's threat loomed large in their minds. They had struck a significant blow, but the war was far from over. As they regrouped and assessed the damage, one thing was clear. Jacob stood at the edge of the underground facility, the debris still settling from the explosion. The alien leader's words echoed in his mind, fueling his resolve. The battle had taken its toll, but they couldn't afford to rest. Emma, Jackson, and Lee were by his side, each bearing the marks of their recent skirmish. "Jacob, we need to regroup and plan our next move," Emma urged, her eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of the enemy. "We can't let them regain their footing," Jacob replied. "We need to strike again, and soon." Back at the facility, Captain Roberts gathered the remaining forces. The air was thick with determination and urgency. "We've dealt a heavy blow to their command structure," he began. "But they'll retaliate with everything they've got. We need to stay ahead." Lily, still at her station, interjected. "The data we recovered indicates several key locations where the aliens are consolidating their power. If we can hit those, we might be able to cripple their operations for good." Jacob looked around at his team, their faces set with grim determination. "We divide into two teams. One hits the main power grid, the other takes out their communication hub. Without power and coordination, they'll be disorganized and vulnerable." Jackson, ever the strategist, agreed. "I'll lead the team to the power grid. Emma, you and Jacob handle the communication hub." The team set out, moving swiftly through the devastated city. Jacob and Emma's group approached the communication hub, a heavily guarded structure bristling with alien technology. They used the cover of night to their advantage, slipping past patrols and setting charges at key points. Inside, the hub was a labyrinth of corridors and control rooms. Jacob and Emma moved with practiced efficiency, disabling guards and planting explosives. The sound of alien footsteps grew louder, and Jacob signaled for silence. They ducked into a side room, waiting for the patrol to pass. Once the area was clear, they continued to the main control room. Emma hacked into the system, downloading critical data and setting a virus to disrupt their communications. "This should buy us some time," she whispered, her fingers flying over the keyboard. Jacob kept watch, his senses on high alert. The tension was thick, every moment stretching into an eternity. Finally, Emma finished her task, and they set the final charges. "Time to go," she said, her voice barely audible. As they made their escape, the charges detonated, sending shockwaves through the structure. Alien forces scrambled, their coordination shattered. Jacob and Emma rendezvoused with Jackson's team, who had successfully taken down the power grid. "Nice work," Jackson said, clapping Jacob on the shoulder. "They won't recover from this easily." Back at the facility, the team regrouped. The alien forces were in disarray, their communications and power crippled. But the victory felt hollow. The war was far from over, and they all knew it. Captain Roberts addressed the weary soldiers. "We've struck a significant blow today. But the aliens will regroup. We need to be ready for their next move." Lily interrupted with urgency. "I'm picking up a massive energy signature. It looks like they're preparing a final assault. We need to intercept them before they can launch it." Jacob's eyes met Robert's. "We'll take the fight to them. This ends now." The final battle was at hand. Jacob, Emma, and their comrades prepared for the confrontation that would decide the fate of their world. They moved with purpose, every step bringing them closer to the alien stronghold where the enemy's forces were amassing. The battlefield was a scene of chaos and destruction. Alien war machines clashed with human ingenuity, the ground shaking with the force of their conflict. Jacob led his team with unwavering focus, each action precise and deliberate. As they breached the stronghold, the alien leader emerged, its presence commanding and menacing. The final showdown began, a brutal exchange of fire and strategy. Jacob and Emma fought side by side, their synergy honed by countless battles. In a daring move, Emma disabled the leader's protective field, exposing it to attack. Jacob seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated assault with his team. The alien leader fell, its forces collapsing without direction. The battlefield fell silent, the air heavy with the aftermath of the conflict. Jacob looked around at his comrades, their expressions a mix of relief and exhaustion. They had won, but the cost had been high. Captain Roberts approached, a rare smile breaking through his stoic demeanor. "We did it," he said simply. Jacob approved, his thoughts already turning to the future. "There's still a lot of work to be done. But this is a start." Emma placed a hand on his shoulder. "Together we'll rebuild. Stronger than before." As the sun rose over the battlefield, casting a new light on the ruins, the survivors gathered, their resolve unbroken. The war was over, but the journey of rebuilding had just begun.